Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm coming on to do a video about a couple of out-of-body experiences that I had. Very profound experiences, and I really wanted to share them. Okay, so the first one was in the form of a dream. I had a dream that I was at a corporate gathering, and I only knew the people that I was speaking to at the moment. There were like 2 or 3 people. We were standing around having cocktails, drinks, or whatever. And so out of the clear blue, somebody called my name. And I was like, yo, who knows me other than these people? So I turned around and it was a middle-aged white guy, appeared to be in his 40s. He had a receding hairline. He had on a brown suit and he had a few extra pounds and he was like, Akila. And I'm like, yeah, do I know you? And then I looked at him and he was like, you're going to die tonight. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you're gonna die tonight. I'm like, okay. So I literally, like, I was so freaked out. Like, I left the party and I went into the parking lot. And I'm like, some weird dude just came up to me and was like, you're gonna die tonight. And I was like, what in the world? And then all of a sudden, as I'm like pacing back and forth in the parking lot, I heard somebody else call my name. They were like, Akila. And I'm like, okay, to myself, who's calling my name now? So I turned around and there was an elderly, this guy was also Caucasian. He had on like a whitish color suit. He had like silver hair and his eyes were glowing. And he's like, you're gonna die tonight. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? So I just got so angry and I just started lifting my hands up and just talking to God. I'm like, God, if I'm going to die tonight, just take me now, Lord. Just take me now because I'm tired of people telling me that I'm going to die. So if I'm going to die, take me. So then I felt my spirit like leave my body. And I was traveling through the air, just going really fast through the sky and then through the clouds and through the atmosphere. And as I'm traveling, I started looking back to my left and I saw that my body was in the parking lot. And but my spirit had left, and so I was traveling light speed, flying through, and then all of a sudden I landed somewhere. And so as I landed, I opened my eyes and it was beautiful. It was nighttime on this side too. It was beautiful. It was like a paradise, an ocean, palm trees, a nice breeze. I think like a cat walked in front of me. It was something weird. So animals are in heaven. And then there was like a wall petition next to me. And I saw like the hands and the legs of a man like weaving a craft. And it was like natural fiber and light, and he was like hand weaving. It was so amazing. But in my spirit, it was like, it looked like the guy that I had lost to death recently. And so I was like, oh my God, that looks like so-and-so's hands and his legs. But I'm like, he was too cool to weave any type of craft. Like, really, that was not something he would do. But in my heart, I knew his hands and I knew his legs. So it was like, call his name. And so I called his name. And sure enough, he like looked around the wall petition at me. And so I was like, oh God, I said, I've passed away, and now I'm with him. But the thing about it was there was something dividing us. It was like almost like a cubicle partition in between us. But the other side of it is, okay, let me back up. I'm going too far ahead. So I woke up, all right. And then I read this book by a woman named Barbara Edie. And she had a near-death experience where she was on an operating table and she actually died. And when she went to heaven, she said in her book that new people coming in, they hand weave robes for other people coming in. And so that's what I saw him doing. He was hand weaving a craft. I knew it was something and I wrote it down, but it was so amazing. So that was my first experience. And I'll also put the name of her book below in case you want to read it. I haven't read it in a long time. I wasn't a Christian when I read it then, but It was just true to my experience, and I knew that my spirit had actually left my body to go and travel to where he was. So that's dream number one. The experience that's number two, it wasn't actually a dream, it was just an experience. So I was pretty young, and I had fell asleep at the foot of the bed. So it's like my head was at the foot of the bed, and I felt my body and my soul separate. And so it was almost like when you're on a roller coaster, like that feeling you get in your belly when you go down a dip, you know, like that tingly drop feeling. It was like that. And so like I felt that happen. And so when it completed itself, I was standing at the foot of the bed watching myself sleep. But my soul that was watching my body, it was almost like my body on the bed was three-dimensional. So it wasn't like I was looking straight at like a regular image. It was like, you know how on computers, when you look at pictures, some of them real close, you'll see a bunch of tiny squares making up the image. It was like that. And so it was really deep. And so once I realized what had happened in the situation, because it wasn't really a dream, it was more of an experience. Once I realized my soul had left my body, I started freaking out. And so all of a sudden it went back, like my soul went back into my body, and that was it. So I don't know if any of you have ever had this type of experience. If you have, please leave me a comment down below just to let me know. I'm curious about it. And I know my experiences are real. It's not something I would make up at all, but I just wanted to share with y'all. All right. Hope all is well and blessed.